Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. And today I'm getting into the Christmas spirit. I've got my Christmas sweater on and I'm starting to think about our Christmas vacation coming up in a few days. We're going to travel and see the kids and the grandkids. And whenever I travel, I like to take some games with me. Usually too many games, but yesterday my wife and I started trying to look through the stacks and prioritize some things we wanted to take. So if you're curious to see what we're going to try to squeeze into our luggage, stay tuned. So we'll be flying here from LA up to Seattle and spending a few days there, and then from there flying down to San Antonio, spending some time there, and then back to Seattle, then home over about a 2-week time period, visiting all the kids, all the grandkids. And there are certain games that I have in mind for certain people, and then I have others that I have in mind for the whole group. And so my wife and I are trying to prioritize what do we squeeze into the luggage. I'm going to show you what games are for sure going in the bags, and then I'm going to talk to you about some that are on the fringe. If you have some suggestions on some of those fringe games, leave those comments down below. And here's one that is for sure going. This is Her Story. This is an Underdog Games game. It's one, I think it was designed by Emerson Matsuuchi. Beautiful game, beautiful art about iconic women of history. And my wife and I have had a good time playing this with several of our different friends over the last several weeks since we received it, and been looking forward to taking it with us to play with our daughters and our grandkids and just anyone in our family who's interested. It's a really simple game to learn, and yet if you want to, you can learn a lot about these amazing women of history while you're playing this kind of Splendor-like game where you're using resources to draft cards and basically write an 8-chapter story about these amazing women. So definitely going into the bag, and one we're really excited to take with us and share with our family. Another one that's for sure going, and it's another big box, so these big ones were hard to nail down, but this one is Roll Camera. And I just recently got the B-Movie expansion, and last Christmas our son came out to California and we played this with him and had a great time. And now with the B-Movie expansion, I want to play it with some of the rest of the family, see if they enjoy it as much as we do. It's a really funny cooperative game where you've got all these problems you're trying to resolve, and you're trying to either make the best movie in cinematic history or the worst dud that's going to be so bad it's great. And it's a fun cooperative time. We're looking forward to trying this one with that new B-Movies expansion, Roll Camera. Another one that is a sure thing is Fossil Canyon. This is by Polymath Games, and I played this one at Thanksgiving with our niece and nephew, Janelle and I did, and we're looking forward to playing this with the grandkids on this trip. 2 of the grandkids helped actually make a film or a video on my channel months ago when we were looking at backing this on Kickstarter, and so I'm really excited to play it, especially with them, since they have been looking forward to this game for over a year now, I think. And we have it in hand. It is a fun game. I think the kids are all going to love it, Fossil Canyon. Another one that's for sure going, Lord of the Rings, Journey to Mordor. And this is a small little game. It's a dice game where you're trying to get the ring to Mordor, and you're all hobbits trying to do the same thing. And it's a bit of a competition, which seems a little off theme, but it's a lot of fun. And I just recently found a way that you can play this cooperatively. I don't think it's a formally official version of the game, but we might try that too. We played this with a lot of people over the summer. Our son enjoyed it, several of our friends enjoyed it, and it's a small box game, so we're going to take this one for sure and hopefully get to play it with several family members over the break. Another one that I want to take, this is one that our oldest daughter really liked when they were living with us for a while. Point Salad is one that she was good at, enjoyed the art, enjoyed the style of the game, and it's just one you can teach to anybody as well. Very simple to learn, very fun to play, quick game, you can play multiple rounds. So Point Salad by AEG, definitely going to make the cut as well. All right, so those are kind of the sure things. Now we're starting to get into the, okay, probably going to go, but maybe a little bit on the fringe. Most of these middle range games are smaller ones that we can probably get quite a few of them in, especially if we repackage a few things. All right, so we've got a couple of love letter versions here. We've got the Marvel Marvel, what is it, Thanos game. I forget exactly the name of it, but it's got Thanos as one player and the rest are trying to battle him. And then we've got this Star Wars Jabba's Palace version as well. 2 different versions of Love Letter. We played Love Letter a lot with our son and with other family members, and I think these 2 themes are going to be fun to try out, and especially this one versus many version. The Marvel one is unique, and so we'll probably squeeze these in. As you can tell, they're nice and small. We can get those into a bag pretty easy, or even into a carry-on. And then I've got 3 games that kind of go together in a sense. They're trick-taking games. So we've got The Crew, Mission Deep Sea. We've got Skull King by Grandpa Beck Games, and then we've got Cat in the Box. So these three trick-taking games are all very different. So in Cat in the Box, you've got all black cards that are numbered, and so you have to decide what color it is when you play it. And there's this track that you're putting little cubes on, and you have to not create what do they call that? A mistake, basically, in history. There's a special word they use for it, drawing a blank on it. But if you create that paradox, then you're out. And so you're trying not to get to the point where you only have cards in your hand that can't be played because you've already said you either didn't have them or they've been played by other players. And it's a really interesting, unique take on trick-taking games. The crew is also unique in the sense that it is cooperative. So you're saying, okay, well, this person has to win a trick using the yellow 5 or whatever, or has to win the trick with a red card or something, or with no trump, they have to win 2 tricks or whatever. So you got all these tasks you're trying to accomplish, but doing it cooperatively with limited to no communication. There's no verbal communication, there's some nonverbal. So that one's going to be fun. And then we played Skull King last spring when we were out in Indiana with several family members. You're doing yo ho ho, and then you're throwing out fingers to say how many different tricks you think you can take, and there's some really wild game-changing cards in here. And so this one's a fun one too. So 3 different kinds of trick-taking games that we might take. Probably get at least 1 or 2 of those. Janelle, my wife, really wants to take Cat in the Box. She's been liking that one a lot lately. Another small box game that we'll more than likely take is Marvel Remix. This is a new twist on the game Fantasy Realms. If you've played that before, you're trying to collect cards into your hand that fit together. So you might need 2 different heroes together, or you might need a certain nemesis who can't be with certain heroes. Otherwise, it cancels the points. You need equipment, you need locations. There's all these different things, and they merge together in unique scoring patterns. And then in this one thing that's unique compared to Fantasy Realms is you have to have at least one of the heroes and at least one of the nemesis in your hand by the end, one of the villains. So that's a new twist to it. You can't just go all heroes or all villains. You got to have that little bit of a mix at the end of the game. So that's a unique card playing game that we've played a few times, and I think that one might make it. This one will probably take because I think the grandkids would like it. Now, most of our grandkids are probably too young to do this on their own, but I think with some parental help or some grandpa help, we can team up and have a good time with Jurassic Parts. I haven't even played this one yet, actually. It's a pretty recent acquisition, and so I unboxed it and opened it all up. It's pretty densely packed in here, so I don't know if we can make it much smaller, but it's pretty small to begin with. Just beautiful art, and several of our grandkids are really into dinosaurs, so we'll probably squeeze this in one way or another and just play with teams to see if we can make that one work. So that is the list of sure things, and then probably going. Now let's look at some that are more on the fence. This first one, if it wasn't so big, it would be going. And that is 7 Wonders Architects, because you can play it with 7 people. And it's really easy to learn. It's really quick. It has beautiful components and these nice little trays, so well organized. But it's a big box, and it's kind of heavy too. So I don't know. The size and weight of this one might limit it. If it wasn't for that, we would take it for sure. If we were driving, we would take it for sure. But flying, we're limited. So this one's probably going to get cut, but it's a hard cut because we really enjoy this game, and everyone we played it with also really enjoys it. It's a kind of a simpler version of 7 Wonders, so that's a hard cut. Now we've got some other small box games that for various reasons are maybe not going to make it even though they're small. One is Inheritors. Now Inheritors is a 2022 game by Ice Makes, and I just learned it last Sunday with one of my friends from Camarillo. He taught it to me. Really clever card game. I enjoyed it quite a bit and picked it up from Amazon right away. They had a nice sale. But it may be a little complex compared to some of these other games. It's not super complex, but compared to some of these others, it's kind of maybe next level. And with all the other ones competing for that space, even though this one's small, not sure. I would love to play it again. I'm just not sure this Christmas is going to be the right setting because we are limited in time and there's so many other games as you can see. So this one will probably get cut, but it's one that I hate to cut because I really enjoyed it. Another one that I've just been on my shelf of shame forever, Rolled West. Haven't played it. Can't play it solo, and so I've been wanting to play it. My wife's not super into roll and ride or flip and write type games that much, so just haven't gotten it to the table. It is so small, though. Might take it. I'm sure I can get someone to play it with me, maybe several someones. This one's kind of on the fence, though, again, because it's competing with a lot of other games that maybe are a little higher up on the priority list, but we might squeeze this in. We'll see. Next one, Arboretum. Now, I know both of my daughters would love the art of this game, but we affectionately call this game Mean Trees, because while it seems very peaceful and pleasant as you're playing your cards and building out your arboretum, it's cutthroat if you play it right. Like, you're stealing cards you know they want, you're keeping a card in your hand that you know they really need. You're trying to make it so that you have a higher card than they do in their hand for the arboretum they're building so that they can't score it. All these different things where you can kind of really stab the other people in the back with it. It can be a pretty cutthroat game. So I'm not sure that the family's going to be so much into that aspect, although it's beautiful. The cards are gorgeous and it's pretty easy to play, but it's a little mind-bending in that way that you're playing down cards, but you have to keep one in your hand that you don't play. If you don't have one in your hand, you can't score the ones that are on the table. And if you don't have the highest one of that one in your hand, you can't score the ones on your table. So it's a little tricky, but a fun one. I like it. Haven't played it in a long time because it is pretty mean. But that one's on the fence. You know, might go. It's a small box, as you can see. Another one, this is just me being selfish, wanting to play a game. I've had this one on my shelf forever. I just want to play this game. Again, it's a rolling right, flipping right kind of a game. Wife's not super into it. So I don't know. I'm sure I could find someone to play, but again, all these other games, it's not super big, but it's also not as tiny as some of the card games. I haven't played it yet, so I don't know if it's really going to be a shorter game. Let me know about this one. Is this one worth trying to squeeze in there? Again, it's going to have a lot of stiff competition, but I just want to get this off the shelf and try it. I really have a feeling I'm going to like this one, so we'll see. We might get that in there. All right, now the last ones are bigger box games, and that's what makes it harder. They would all go for sure if they weren't so big. One is Marvel Splendor. Now, Splendor was one of the first games my kids actually got me for Christmas when I started diving into the hobby. One of my daughters and her husband had played it out in Seattle, and they really loved it. My son got into it, and he's amazing at this game, but we all like the game, and then I got this Marvel version, which is the newer version, which adds a couple little twists to it and makes it kind of fun. But again, and we could condense this one. It's a bigger box. We could condense it down because it doesn't need this big of a box. So that might be a way we could maybe combine it into another box or put it in baggies or something. I'm pretty sure the family would really like this one. So I'm probably going to find a way to repackage this one and take it along, but not sure because it is a bigger box. Next up, we've got Legends of Andor. Now this is the part 2, Journey to the North. Now, my son and my wife and I have played dozens of times the regular Legends of Andor, the original game, with some of the small box expansions, New Heroes and Dark Heroes and Star Shield. We've played all of those over and over and over again, but we never got into the second or third boxes. So I'm tempted to take this because my son's going to be there. We love it. I think my daughter and her husband that live up in Seattle, where that part of the family is going to be able to get together for some time, I think they would probably enjoy it as well. So, but you can see this is a big box and it's pretty packed. It's not something we can repackage much. So again, space and competition for time, competition for, the weight and space in our luggage. So I don't know. This is one I really want to take because I love playing it so much with my son and I think it'd be fun. Yeah, this is like the sentimental one for me. So I don't know. Maybe we'll squeeze it in. I think we'll have space. We have 4 bags plus our carry-ons and we don't need that many clothes, but yeah, I don't know. I also know we can't play them all. So this is the sentimental choice. My wife was like, oh, we should take it. Oh, maybe we shouldn't. And we're both in that same boat. So we'll see if it makes the cut or not, if we squeeze it into the bags. Next up is one that I've just recently started playing. I played it a week or so ago with my friend from Camarillo, just 2 players. Then played it at game night Thursday with 3 players. Really clever little area control game. But it can maybe look mean initially because you're battling each other at times and you're stealing each other's city tiles. But your explorers never leave the game; they just go to another area. And so, if you're clever, you can actually lose a city tile and be forced to retreat into an area that actually helps you accomplish some cards you have in your hand that no one else knows you have. And it's got really cool tracks where you're moving up your counters on the tracks to increase the number of dice you roll, increase the number of times you can re-roll the dice, increase the number of cards you have that you can use in multiple ways, increase the number of people you can put out, explorers you can put out on the board. So lots of really clever things. It's a pretty easy game to learn, and it's a smaller size box. Again, there's not a whole lot of dead space in here, so couldn't make it too much smaller, I don't think. I think this is one that's short enough and interesting enough and easy enough a lot of people might enjoy. But again, the competition, this one's a little bit down on the priority list, but I've had a lot of fun with it recently, so we'll see. And then the last one, this one is purely size. I know the family would love it. This is The Spill. And my wife and I have played this several times now, and we played it with some friends. It is really fun. It kind of reminds me of Pandemic. It's a cooperative game, and you're trying to avoid this disaster, this oil spill. So it's like Pandemic in that way. You're working together to avoid this tragedy, and you're saving animals from the oil spill. It's very thematic. It's really hard. We played it multiple times, and we've yet to win. We've always been just like one turn away, really close, but haven't. And we have not played easy mode yet, so we might try that and see if we can actually win a game. But it's really fun, really beautiful. It's got this nice big dice tower that's like in the shape of the oil rig. I know my family would love it, but again, big box, not super heavy, but it's pretty densely compacted because of that oil rig. And that's part of the game. Like, I don't want to take it without the oil rig just to save space. But I know people would really enjoy this one. It does also only play up to 4 players, so that's, and I think if we take it down to San Antonio, it'd just be my daughter and her husband and my wife and I at night after the kids go to bed. That could work. Up in Seattle, though, there's going to be at least 4, 5, 6 adults. I don't know how many might be interested, so that there's a couple things that might hold this one back. But The Spill is a great game, one that I would love to play with my family. So there you have it. Lots of games. I didn't even count them up. I don't know how many there are here, maybe 20 or so. We're not going to take them all. We're going to have to make some hard cuts, especially on some of these bigger games. What do you think? Of those hard cuts, the ones that are kind of middle of the road and the ones that are at the end of this video, which ones do you think I should go for? Maybe they're your favorite games, or maybe you've got another reason why you think we should squeeze it into the bag. And it's not just can we get it in the bag. I'm sure we could squeeze all of it in, but there's no way we can play this many games in that many days because we want to do other things with the family too. It won't be just playing games. But so let us know. What do you think? Are there any games that I missed from this that you just think, hey, you got to take that game. I know you've got it. I've seen it on your shelf, or I've seen you talk about it on your channel. Let me know that in the comments below as well. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays in the next couple weeks. And thanks for watching this video. As always, this is Billy, Indiana, signing off.